Hi, I'm Abubakar Siddiq Ango, Developer Evangelist at GitLab. In this video, we'll be exploring how GitLab Duo helps you learn new technologies. Yeah, we've all been there, where you have a job you need to do or a project you need to work on, and the requirement needs certain technologies that you've probably not used before or you've not used in a long time. Maybe it's a new language or a new framework in a language that you are familiar with, or a different technology entirely in a domain that you are not used to. In this video, we will be learning Laravel, which is a PHP framework. Yeah, the assumption here will be someone who is completely new to Laravel. Then we'll see how you can use GitLab Duo Chat to ask questions and learn about Laravel. Then we use code suggestions with the information GitLab Duo Chat is giving us to then create a simple application. Let's get started. The first thing we will need to do, I'm using Visual Studio Code here, is, okay, where do we start from? Or basically, what is even Laravel in the first place? So let's ask GitLab Duo Chat, what is Laravel? Now, you will need to have enabled GitLab Duo in your GitLab account, set it up in Visual Studio Code. In the description of this video, I'll be adding links on how you can set up your account. Now, GitLab Duo Chat has responded. Laravel is a free open source PHP web framework created by Taylor Otwell and so on. Information that you need to learn that technology. Okay, interesting. What are, maybe if this is like a definition of Laravel, then what are the different components? What makes up Laravel? What are the components of Laravel? Now, see, okay, GitLab Duo Chat is finding an answer. Depending on the speed of the response you get depends on a number of factors. And sometimes it's exploring different ways of getting you the best answer. Now, awesome, generating, producing an answer, looking forward to it. Awesome. Now, it has responded to us. What makes up a Laravel application? We have the core components includes routing, handles your URL request and dispatches them to controllers. What is a controller? Controllers handle request and returns your response. We have views, render templates with data. Models represent application data and logic, migration, templating, etc. All the different components of Laravel have been mentioned here. Now, okay, we've seen all the different components of Laravel. Then, what are the dependencies of Laravel? Because if you will be using a tool or a technology, you need to know, okay, what are the things you need to have installed? What are the binaries that your system needs to have already? Or some other tools that you need on your machine to be able to support either the framework or the technology. Now, okay, it says here, Laravel relies on Composer as its package manager. Okay, then some key dependencies installed via Composer includes your PHP extensions and PHP itself. Now you need to make sure PHP is installed on your system. You can always check php-v. Yeah, I have PHP 8.2 installed. Then it says Composer. Maybe you don't know Composer. What is Composer? What is a Composer? Maybe you've never built anything in PHP before and you want to understand what Composer is, or you've not used a package manager or PHP package manager before. Now, GitLab Duo Chat should be able to give us an explanation of what Composer is, then how we can install Composer on our system before we proceed with the rest of setting up Laravel. Awesome. Now, Composer is a dependency manager for PHP that allows you to declare and install dependencies for PHP projects and so on. See, it even gives you sources for where you can learn more about the contents that it has shared. Okay, now how do I install Composer on macOS? I'm using a macOS. So oftentimes prompting requires you to at least provide some form of context so that you have better responses. Okay, if I just say, how do I install Composer? It might give me information that are not necessarily relevant to my context or to my use case. But when I give it more information on the things I need, how I need them, and so on, it will provide the best answer. And you can see here are the steps to install Composer on macOS. Okay, I'm using Homebrew. If you don't have Homebrew, you can ask it how to install Homebrew or install it on your system. Then you can copy, paste, brew, install Composer, then, or you can check if you have it installed already, Composer -- version. Okay, I have Composer installed, version 2.5.5. And yeah, if you want to start creating a package, and so you can use this, but I don't need this. But then, okay, this is one of the dependencies that Laravel needs, and I have it installed already. I have my PHP installed already. Then what next do I need to do? How do I start a Laravel project? How do I start a Laravel project? Now, we have our dependency set up. We have PHP set up. We have Composer installed already. And the next thing will be for us to start by building our Laravel project. Yeah, I like using Laravel because I have experience working with Laravel, so it's easy to use for examples. Now, awesome. Now, here it's telling us, here are the steps to start a new Laravel project. Make sure you have Composer installed on your system. It's installed. Composer is a dependency manager for PHP. Yep, we have it installed already. Then install Laravel installer using Composer. Okay, let's see what the command is. Okay, to install Laravel installer globally on the machine. Now let's paste and install. Okay, I think we have it already on the system. Then let's start a new project. Laravel new my project to install a fresh project. Now let's do this. Laravel new my website. New my website. Okay, it's we have the Laravel installer asking, do you need a starter kit? Starter kit allows you either use no starter kit where everything is just a basic Laravel installation, or you can use Breeze and Jetstream. This comes with things that are pre-configured for you to use. So I'll be using the starter kit. Okay, if I want to use any testing framework, either PHP unit or PEST. I use the default. Would you like to initialize it for Git? Yes, you should always use Git for your project. And is pulling the Laravel package and also installing all the necessary dependencies for Laravel to work using Composer in the background. Now, do we need database for application? Yeah, if you need it, you press yes for this also. And we should have our Laravel application. Now, what next do we need to do? Okay, let's cd into our project. So here, my cd, my website. It found it .env. Should it source it? We won't be using it in the terminal. We don't need to source it. So we'll say no by pressing N. Then I do Composer install. Now this we check all the necessary dependencies and ensure that they are all installed. Then configure your environment variables and database connection in .env. If we go into our Explore here and we open website, you see these are all the files that he has pulled, and all the necessary dependencies have been installed in the vendor folder. Now it also comes with a .env that will contain our secrets. Your secrets should never be stored. Don't put your secrets in files that are easily accessible. If you are going to use a .env, your production env should be managed separately and securely. Now, next thing is, let's go back to the GitLab Duo Chat interface and generate your application key. Okay, let's generate an application key. An application key is used by Laravel for certain encryption purposes. Now, then the next thing is, okay, let's test our installation and see. PHP Artisan Serve. It will run a local server on your machine that you can use to preview your installation. Okay, this is the URL we are going to access it on. Let's see. We have a Laravel installation running on my local machine. Now, the next thing will then be, okay, if we go back to our history here, it showed us from the different components. We have routing, controllers, and views. How do we create all of this? How do we work with them? Now, for this project, we are going to focus mainly on routes, controllers, and views. Now, but how do we create a route? How do I create a Laravel route? Okay, let's go back to, let's wait for it to finish. And this is still running. If you want to learn more about Laravel, I'll be adding a link to the Laravel documentation in the description of this video. Well, when you are previewing your installation for the first time, you should have links to the documentation also to learn more about Laravel if you've not used it before. And also things like Laracast, that we used Laracast a lot before. These are videos and contents that you can learn from. We have Laravel news also. Now, let's go to see our response from chat. Okay, now, how do I create a Laravel route? Okay, here's how you create a route in Laravel. Open the route/web file. Okay, then define a route using the following syntax. Okay, this is how I can do it. The first argument. You can also point it to a controller action. Okay, this is interesting. Now, let me go. Where does it say we should go? We should go to route/web. Now, let's go to route. And web. Okay, this is what our route file looks like, and this is what is rendering this is the initial route we have for the default page that we previewed earlier. Okay, now let me create a route. Okay, let's see. Oh, GitLab code suggestion is suggesting for me an example of a route that I can use, which is this. So basically, is using the route facade to create a get method that anytime /about is accessed, it displays the content of this view for me. If you are not familiar with these terms, you can dig further in GitLab Duo chat by saying, okay, what is a Laravel route? Okay, what is the route? How do I understand the different things about a Laravel route? You can learn more with Duo chat. And also you can, for example, it says view here. What exactly is a view? How do I create a view? Now you see in Laravel routes, define the endpoints and URLs that your application responds to. And you see here, this route will respond to a GET request to the /about and return the about view. Awesome. Now, how do I create a Laravel view? Yeah, it's working. So, like I was saying earlier, if you want to learn more about Laravel, you can access this very detailed description to go into more detail, to explore more. While GitLab Duo Chat helps to give you straight to the point content, straight to the point things that you need in your immediate time. More detailed documentation, you can find them in the documentation here. Now, if we go, okay, to create a Laravel view, you need to create a new blade file. A blade file is a type of template. A blade is type of a template engine that Laravel uses. And you create the blade file with a .blade.php extension in the resources/views directory. Oh, okay. For example, we have this resources views welcome.blade.php. Let's go and check it out. Then we use code suggestions to help us create a view. Now, remember, we want to display for the about view. If we go and try to render our page now and we say, oh, we want to go to /about, not found because we don't have a view yet. Now, oh no, I've not saved this. So yeah, unexpected end of file. Let's see. Okay, we have this. Semicolon was missing. Then, view about not found because we don't have the view yet. So if where should we create it? Resources/views. So if we come to resources and we come to views, you see, this is the welcome view that was displayed when we first set up our Laravel app. So let's right click on views here and create about.blade.php. Nice. Now let's tell GitLab code suggestions what we want to do. Create create about Laravel view. Yep. Let's see how it defines. Sometimes GitLab code suggestions can bring you different options, but in this case, we have only one of one, and if we want to accept, we can accept it this way. Awesome. It has created view forward. It also created this layout.app. This is one of the things that Laravel Blade templating engine uses to manage the layout of your Laravel application. Layout, you more like it to take this content and fix it into a template layout that you have already. So we have this. With our view, can we still view our web page? Layouts.app missing. But how do I create it? Can GitLab Duo Chat help me to create one? Okay, first let's say, how do I create a default Blade layout in Laravel? I always like adding Laravel so that even if the AI engine has lost context, to understand exactly what I'm saying, so we don't have to do a lot of back and forth to get the right answer that I want. So basically, the way Laravel works is, for every view you are creating, you can wrap your content. You can create a layout using the Blade template engine that can be reused across all your views. Okay, we see here that it says, here are the steps to create a default Blade layout. Create a layout directory inside the resources/views if one does not exist. Add a layout Blade file such as, okay, this, we are going to create this in the folder. Then define a basic structure for HTML and use the @yields directive where content should go. Okay, so let's do this first. Layout/app.blade. Let's go into, it says we should create it inside resources views. So let's go into resources views. Then let's create a layout folder. Layout. Now, then inside the layout folder, let's see, the next thing is, it says we should create this file. Okay, so let's come to layout here, add file. Voila. So now the next thing will be to define our HTML structure. It says, let's see, what instruction did it say? We should define the basic structure HTML and use @yield directives. Then in the views, in your view files, extend the layout using @extends. You see, we already have that here, layouts.app. But okay, how do I define my HTML structure? Let me ask Tool to help me. Can you give me a sample Laravel layout file? So let's see if it can give me a sample I can just use and repurpose for my use case here. So instead of having to waste time creating one afresh. Now, like any other application, like any other resources or examples you get from the web, you shouldn't use examples you get from the AI verbatim. At least check it and repurpose it to suit your needs. Provided a sample Laravel layout file demonstrating the use of. Okay, this doesn't. Okay, let me create a new one. Let me prompt it with a different instruction and see. Give a sample HTML structure for a Laravel layout. I guess probably it doesn't understand what I wanted previously, so let's give it a different prompt. Voila, we can see by changing our prompt that it gave us the exact contents that we're looking for. So let's copy this and paste it here. So this will handle our title. To this, if there are any styles that you are adding to your review, to add it here, and your main content will show up here. And if there are any scripts, they will also show up here. But in our blade, you can see that we only have content. Now let's save this and PHP. Let's view our application. Artisan serve. Oh, okay. I'm not in a project folder. Let's see ls. Yep. cd my website. Then let's try again. PHP artisan serve. Now, so if we now visit our page here about, it displays. It works fine now. And you can decide to, let's say, okay, we've looked at how to create a route, how to create a view, how to create a layout. You can take it further by saying, oh, I want to create a controller so that anytime someone specifies a username, it should be processed by a controller and displayed by a view. Now, so let's go back to our route here and see. Let's create a new route. Create a route that takes a username from the URL and sends it to a controller. Let's see. Nice. You see, it has created for us a route with a get method, and this is our endpoint /user/username. Then it created a user controller for us and with a method for the controller, and it has also named our route. Now, the next thing is, how do we create our controller? Let's see. How do I create a Laravel controller? Now, and we can see here, while we wait, you can see here that it has the username in curly brackets means it's a variable that is supplied. Values can be supplied through the URL to it, and it is sent to the controller as a variable. Now, okay, let's see. Our AI has responded. Here are steps to create a controller. Create a new controller file in the app HTTP controllers directory. For example, you can either create it with PHP Artisan, or you can write it yourself, and you can specify what information. And once you've created a controller, you can map it to a route. But here we've created our route first. Now let's create our controller. Now let's use the PHP Artisan command that we have here. Let's copy this And let's close this for now. Let's, instead of photo controller example, we'll change it to user controller. Well, and if we come here, we see, if we go to apt http controllers, we have our user controller, and you see it's here. So now the next thing is, from our route here, we need a method, show profile. So let's create a method that will take username. Tell PHP code, dual code suggestions, GitLab dual code suggestions to create the method for us. Create a method to take that takes username. Create, let me give the name of the method that takes username from route and sends to view. So let's see. It's thinking, let's see. Okay, yeah, it's trying to show profile from where, from the database. No, we are not using a database. From a model, we are not using a model. So let me change it. That takes a username from Laravel route and sends it to, let's say, Laravel view. Maybe to understand what I mean. Let's see. It still wants to use a model. So let me just accept this and change. I'm not accessing anything from a model. I have it in past already. So I will remove this and put my username here. So, and we specify the name of a view for us. So we can just change this to profile instead of the user.profile. User.profile will want to make us create some directory structure, create a user profile before profile. So the next thing we'll do now is to create a view called profile that displays a user variable. Now, so let's name this username also, username variable. So let's go to, remember we can create our view in the views folder. So if we come to view here and we say profile, we want to create profile.blade.php. And here we say create a view that displays username from variable. Okay, let's do this. Let's see if it will give us our view. Now let's say a Laravel view. Let's see. It just wants to display let's change it this way. Create a Laravel view that displays username. It's thinking, fine, thank you. this is much better. Oh, I pressed escape instead of tab. You press escape to reject a suggestion and tab to accept. So let me press tab, and here you see it's giving us the view. We have, it wants to display our username. So we remove this since we are passing the username directly, and this is our profile. So let's save. How do we access this page? We access it by visiting /user/ the username that you're specifying. So if I go to, let me run PHP artisan serve, and I open our page and I say /user. If I just say /user, it's a 404 because that route does not exist. Only /user/ a username that is accepted. Let me put my name, Abu Ango, and okay, something is wrong. Oh, okay. The issue here is within our route, we specified a controller, but Laravel could not find it. So we can specify the full route to our controller here, app http/controllers and / so let's save and try again. Let me refresh. Okay, it's not displaying. Then we can go check why it's not displaying. Let's come to our there's a profile here. Oh, we didn't specify a layout. It didn't specify a layout for us. So let's just copy this layout here and add it here. So if we save, let's go back to our page and it renders. So if we come here and we reload, we can see it says profile at the top and it shows our username. If I change this to my Twitter handle, Sarki247, it changes. So that's to show you the power of GitLab Duo. Okay, you can use GitLab Duo chat together with GitLab Duo code suggestions to learn something new, or maybe it's something you're familiar with already, but you don't understand a particular concept or a particular feature of a technology. You can ask GitLab Duo chat. You can get more links to resources that I've used in this particular tutorial and other resources in the description of this video. Thank you very much.